Kanuhut BC, Uvanga Sikinyagetsak, Kwayana Kairuting Daimani, bridging partnerships to support college access. In Inupiaq, I introduced myself and said, "Greetings, everybody. My native name is Sun is Shining. I go by Sandy. Thank you for attending the Bridging Partnerships to Support College Access workshop today. I'd like to start by welcoming everybody here to feel free to hop on the chat and introduce yourself, what organization you work with, and where you are watching from. So feel free to go ahead and interact throughout today in the chat. If you have any questions as I'm going along, go ahead and put those in the chat as well. I'm really excited to be sharing with you this morning about partnerships and how we can really connect organizations to support college access for Native youth. Thank you, Aisha, for introducing yourself from Arizona. It's nice to see you at our College Fund event. I feel like I just saw you at Nasai last week, so thank you for joining. Oh, Debbie, another familiar face. Thank you, Debbie, for introducing yourself as well. All right, I'm going to get started, but feel free to continue to drop greetings in the chat as we go, and we'll get started here. My name is Sandy Paco. I am the College Readiness Program Administrator at the College Fund. My team is considered the College Readiness Department. With me, or working with me, we have Jenna Gray, the College Readiness Associate, and Erin Redshirt, our Program Assistant. They will not be joining me for today's session, but I just want to do a shout out for them because many of our partners here have probably seen communications come from any of us three over the past year. So that's just a little bit about who my team is. Before I get going, I did want to say for viewers today that this is a webinar that is geared specifically for any of our organizational staff. So if you are a high school staff member, if you are a tribal college staff member, if you work for an educational or tribal organization, this webinar is geared towards you. Parents and students, you may find some things interesting in this presentation, but I will not be offended in the least bit if you're like, oh, well, this actually might not be as relevant to me as I thought it was. So feel free to hop in and out as you need to. So that's just my shout out for students and parents. If you feel like this is not the right fit, that's okay. This webinar is professional development for educational staff that the College Fund works with and provides resources for. Just taking a look at our agenda today, we are going to talk about what we know about the student populations and the schools that we work with and serve, and what supports are needed for those populations and communities. We're going to be talking about raising tribal college awareness for students, family, and staff. We'll talk a little bit about work that is underway with dual credit and dual enrollment, and really get into the heart of what interorganizational partnerships are taking place across the country with the College Fund as kind of like a bridging medium between organizations. And then we'll end with an open discussion today for staff to have a chance to connect, reflect on what they've learned, ask questions, and share things that they think are relevant to our conversations today. And I see people are still continuing to introduce themselves on the chat. Thank you, everybody, for introducing your name, your organization, and where you are watching from. It's helpful to see what audience is here and participating. A little bit about the College Fund service areas. We generally follow the same states that we have TCUs. You'll hear me say TCUs throughout today. That stands for Tribal Colleges and Universities. So in the states that we have tribal colleges and universities, those tend to be our higher service areas for our partnerships, especially with high schools, tribal organizations, educational organizations, and the TCUs themselves. So this is our general service area on this map. I wanted to start by kind of just going over like who are the students that we serve and what are those populations like, because I think that'll be relevant to our conversation today as to how we connect organizations together. So we'll start with a little bit of data about the Higher Pathways program, the program that I oversee at the College Fund. So the Higher Pathways program consists this year of 72 unique partner high schools, tribal colleges and universities, and tribal and educational organizations. The goal for the program is to increase college enrollment for Native high school students. And this year we had 3 focus goals. One of them was to support and increase FAFSA awareness and completion. And the reason for that is because we know that students who actually complete FAFSA, they tend to have a positive correlation to attending and going to college, because they have options that they're reviewing. They're really considering college as a choice. They're often engaging more in college readiness overall. And then our second focus goal is to really support and encourage for full circle scholarship applications. And then our third focus goal is to really increase visibility for tribal colleges and universities. And while we do these 3 things, we are also really grounded in supporting Native student wellness and cultural well-being. So you can see from the charts here, our partner types tend to be very high on the high school side of things. There's 58 high schools. There's actually 2 of them are school districts, just so you know. So 56 high schools, 2 school districts, 7 TCUs, and 7 other educational organizations and tribal organizations. Because there is a national gap of data for Native youth, this program has been really helpful for us to study trends in enrollment, trends in dual enrollment, trends in FAFSA completions, scholarship completions. So I always like to kind of ground our work in sharing some of that data, because the College Fund is really unique in being able to gather data that's not gathered in any other way that I've seen across the United States. So just a little bit about the communities that we serve. We have about 19,000 high school students that we work with our partner high schools. 5,300 of those this year were seniors. As you look at the demographics of the partners themselves, you'll notice that most of them are either on reservation or within 60 miles of a reservation. In addition to that, we have BIE, Bureau of Indian Education, funded schools. And then some schools don't fit quite in any of those categories, especially like the schools in Alaska, where we don't have as many reservations, or they may be in an urban or rural area off reservation. The partner schools that we serve, as you can see from the chart here, tend to be incredibly high in the Native population at that school. So just taking a look at the chart, our schools that have 80% or more of the students are Native, about 46% of our partners have a population that is in that category. And then when you look across the chart, you can also see that our schools tend to be high needs. I really want to point out that 45% of our partners have a school where have a student population where 80% of the students are at free and reduced lunch, and actually majority of that 45% are at a full 100% of the students are at free and reduced lunch. So that's how you can take a look at the chart here. I will make sure to provide all of the slides in a follow-up email after the presentation. It might take a couple of days for us to get out the recording and the slides. So if you're curious or you have questions, feel free to continue to drop those in the chat. Looking deeper at our students, we conducted a survey this past year to learn a little bit more about our students and who they are. And from the students that we surveyed, 410 from 28 schools responded. You can see that a large percentage of the students reported themselves as being first generation. They tended to be slightly more female or female identifying. And if you look at their college readiness, they generally reported that they actually felt they wanted to go to college and they felt ready to go. So that was 42%. An additional 32% said that they want to go to college and they needed some help or support. I don't have today like all of the breakdown of what supports they needed, but we got data. Financial aid, I know, was some of the percentage in there. And then there were needs like help completing applications and researching schools and whatnot. So this just kind of gives you like the general overall. So even though our students that we work with have, as you can see, we have a high percentage of students that are are schools that are Title I eligible. The students need free or reduced lunch. Our program's doing really positive things. A lot of them, after a year of programming with the College Fund, they feel ready or interested, like they're open to college as a choice. And we've already talked a little bit about the demographics here, but you can see it in a chart, just kind of most of our schools being on reservation or within 60 miles of reservation. Our students are eligible for our scholarship. So I just threw some scholarship data in here just so you can see that our program is growing. And as we grow our scholarship, numbers increase. And so that college readiness, this is one of our indicators of how our students are doing in college readiness, above and beyond asking them, how do you feel about going to college? What are some of the other indicators that we have? We have scholarship data, and we have FAFSA data to also measure college readiness as a whole. So we can see that we are increasing from the previous years in our scholarship data. Same thing with FAFSA. I actually just presented at NSI. I know Yisha was there. So I apologize if this is the second time you're seeing this information. Some of our attendees might have not been there. So just some data on FAFSA. 992 completions from students we saw from 42 schools this year. That was a 26% increase from last year, and a 63% increase from 2 years ago. So we're seeing our students are feeling really college ready. And one thing I want to bring up is in that 2020-2021 year, I also wonder how much the FAFSA completions could have been down, because this was the year after the COVID lockdowns, when many schools were still experiencing lockdowns at that time. So I think we're in a period of recovery, and our numbers are starting to really increase. And then we've also introduced the focus goals for this year, so that's probably had an impact as well. So just some exciting things to see. And then finally, I wanted to just showcase a little bit of our fast TCU facts that we've been sharing with those schools. We've been just really working with the schools to increase the staff and student and family knowledge of tribal colleges and universities as an option. And this is one of the slides that I share every single one of our events, just reminding students or letting them know that tribal colleges are the most affordable higher education option in the United States. They tend to be $6,700 less than the national average. And we see that our students at tribal colleges tend to report a very high sense of belonging. 53% of tribal college graduates surveyed strongly agreed they had a mentor who encouraged them to pursue their goals and dreams, compared to 28% of alumni nationally and 26% of traditional college graduates. And so, in addition to talking about FAFSA and Full Circle Scholarship, we really have engaged with the schools to consider TCUs as an option, and just letting staff and students know that our TCUs provide whole student wraparound educational services and resources. They all have cultural wellness components. They support tribal sovereignty, and they have a wide diversity of degrees and majors. From that work, we have really engaged throughout the year in a number of different activities to increase tribal college and university awareness. We have an annual TCU fair. It typically happens around November. Last year was end of November and maybe like the first day of December. And from that 3-day virtual event, we found with our high school staff that attended that they had an increased awareness and knowledge after attending the event. So about 40% of attendees, and this is high school staff, reported an increase in knowledge on the first day. And then there was an additional 22% increase of knowledge on the second day and 11% on the third. So we did a pre-post check-in with them. How did you feel before the event? Rate your level of tribal college awareness, and then after the event each day. And so we saw increases in that, which has been a part of our mission and our goal to really support our tribal colleges. Our students also were asked to rate their awareness on tribal colleges as an option. You can actually see the scale here. It was 0%, or 0 would have had no knowledge, up to 3, which was they had a lot of knowledge. So pre-event, 80% rated at 0 or 1, not having any knowledge of tribal colleges or very little, compared to 20% at 2 or 3. And then post-event, we asked the same question. And then we see that actually the student confidence really jump up. So post-event, only 20% rated at 0 or 1. Most of them bumped up into the 80% of them bumped up at the level of 2 or 3. So wonderful things happening at our events. I wanted to share some of the student partnership pieces here because I think it's really important to share student feedback as well as staff feedback. I'm always trying to find ways to elevate our partners' knowledge of what the College Fund engages with the youth on, and what the impact has been. And so I wanted to share this. This came from a student who attended one of our virtual events. I believe this one was actually just last month. We had a virtual scavenger hunt, and we invited all of the staff and students at the high schools to engage in looking at a guidebook that we have just come out with. It's called the Tribal Colleges and Universities Exploration Guide. And through that, we invited the schools that we work with to look at this guide and then kind of do a fun scavenger hunt event. And they had a chance to win prizes. And we opened this up to the public, but really marketed it at the tribally based schools that we work with. And then we also invited TCU partners to share this out. And a lot of the TCU partners also appreciated this. So from a student, through my research, I have come to appreciate the crucial role that tribal colleges play in offering high quality education to American Indian and Alaska Native students. These institutions not only provide a culturally responsive curriculum that reflects the unique needs and values of these communities, but also offer vital support services that foster academic and personal success. I recognize the immense value of tribal colleges in promoting equity and opportunity for Indigenous students, and believe that they should be celebrated as integral parts of our higher education system. Just a really great moment to pause and think about what our partnerships mean for students and helping them expand their options. This student had marked themselves as a high school student. I have been looking at the language since I received this response, and I actually wonder if they are one of the college students, because college students were also welcome to do this activity, just looking at the language there. But it's still very beautiful to see the learning that they are getting as they engage with our programming. Just a couple other pieces here. I don't want to read everything, but I'll pause and give you a moment to just take this in. I really want to draw out the piece on what we're seeing from TCU staff here. So this was, again, that Tribal College scavenger hunt. TCU staff had a chance to learn about other TCUs. For those of you who just came in, if you hear me use TCUs, what that stands for is Tribal Colleges and Universities. So our Tribal College and university representatives are also reporting learning as they engage with our events. And so we have a really great opportunity at the College Fund here to increase awareness of tribal colleges, even amongst the cohort of tribal colleges that we work with. So we have one main way that our organizations have a chance to partner with us, and that's through the programming that I showed you. For example, the TCU Fair and the TCU Scavenger Hunt. So we have these events that we do, but we also really value taking time for deeper partnerships. And there are some things going on behind the scenes that I wanted to share with you, especially if you are a tribal college representative looking to learn more and find different ways to work with your staff and professional development in various areas. The College Fund has partnerships that are upcoming that are really new and exciting. And one of them is our work with an organization called NACEP. NACEP is the National Alliance of Concurrent Enrollment Partnerships. They have approached us this past spring with a desire to work with tribal colleges and universities and really wanting to connect on dual enrollment and create a space for TCUs to build a community of learning and receive supports from NACEP because they are an accrediting agency, but they also have a lot of partnerships across other organizations that have gone through the dual enrollment process. They can provide training, they can provide supports. They provide a place where professionals can come together and talk about dual enrollment and what's working and how to kind of structure that as a system. So they this work is now just really coming together, and I have to give a big shout out. I don't know if she's here today. Lindy Warden from SKC, one of our tribal college partners, has been really heading that work and is working on bringing more of the tribal colleges together that are interested in dual enrollment to create a committee within NACEP where we can really have conversations about dual enrollment and setting up systems for tribal colleges and supports for them that works. So if you're interested in learning more about that, please email us at nativepathways@collegefund.org. I have been working directly with Lindy and Diane at NACEP and would be happy to put you in contact with them if this is something you're interested in. And then for our high school staff viewers, supports may additionally be built in for you guys with a new partnership committee that formed this past spring. The College Fund pulled together Sorry, it looks like I disconnected for a moment. The College Fund has just formed a new committee called the Higher Pathways Committee. It's going to be about 10 members of our of some of our partners who have been really highly engaged with us. They were picked for a variety of reasons, including their strengths in working on FAFSA and full circle scholarship applications, what they are doing in dual credit and enrollment. They are kind of ready to take their college readiness to the next level. And so we actually invited 10 of these partners to come together and be able to work alongside us to look at what supports we have for Native communities to help connect students to increase their college access, but also giving them a chance to tell us what is needed, because I can look at the data and say, oh, this is where I think I see places for strengths and things that I want to grow, but I'm just one person. I'm really excited to have this group come together because they are all professionals. They know their communities. They have expertise in their areas, and they're going to be able to look at what the College Fund is doing overall through the Higher Pathways program and what we're learning from our Native communities, and talk about some of these issues and strengths that we see, and provide professional development and create a community of learning that can then be distilled more widely and broadly among our cohort. So this is kind of a new up and coming work that we're seeing, both NASEP and the Higher Pathways Committee. Two separate things, but very related work. Dorothy, I see a question you have here. Has TCU considered partnerships with universities for students who want to pursue a degree beyond undergraduate studies or their master's degree, specifically students who are interested in a doctoral degree? Thank you. I know that those questions and those conversations are happening among tribal colleges in a variety of different formats. We have some departments that really focus on engaging with our tribal colleges and looking at their degree programs. I know our programs team has some in like the education fields. They have like a educational programs department where they're really working with TCUs to build out some of that. We also have a new department at the College Fund that is really geared towards supporting TCU capacity building and success. It's called our SEM program, our Strategic Enrollment Management Program, and conversations are happening across tribal colleges as we come together and convene through that. I will be talking a little bit more, I think, on that department in the second professional development session after the lunch break. So I'll kind of put a pin in that for now. But yes, Dorothy, we are starting to see some conversations on the ground happening around your question there. Great question. Thank you. I wanted to show you some examples of the organizational partnerships. We've been talking about the TCUs and what those partnerships look like among the TCUs. As the TCUs partner with the College Fund, here's a couple of examples. I don't want to read through all of them, but kind of just give you an idea of what we're seeing as we engage in this work. So TOCC's they have a high school equivalency program that has partnered. I actually saw, I believe I saw her here. Oops, I went to the wrong screen, sorry. Deborah here and the Arizona Department of Education. They presented last year at the High Impact Practices Gathering about the partnerships they have. We have the recording of that if anybody's interested. I'll make sure to include these slides after this webinar is complete, like in the next couple of days, if anybody wants to check that out. But it's also on our American Indian College Fund YouTube if you wanted to check that out. It's called the High Impact Practices Gathering. We're also seeing from Chandeska that they were able to take one of our grants and hold a non-traditional roles workshop. Dueta Hidatsa has been inviting high schools, and not just students, but counselors to their campus to really engage with them. College of Menominee Nation has been also working with bringing students on campus. So just some examples of what we're seeing with both the Higher Pathways program and the TCU Preview programs that my team works with. A couple other examples we have, Lakudere has a comprehensive site visit for alumni and students to learn about their campus. They're also really working on connecting with the guidance counselors to bridge those partnerships to help students to transfer from high school into college and really increase that college enrollment. Salish Kootenai has an event this month that brings high school administration to campus to learn more. And that's such a valuable part of the partnerships that we're really seeing. Because we know that if we can get more of the administrators and the counselors to learn about the colleges, that creates a reciprocal partnership where they're able to learn and share for their students what affordable college can look like. And for Native students, tribal colleges are in a place where they can really offer unique resources for cultural wellness. And so this is really exciting work that's happening. For some of our high school partners that might be interested here, a couple of examples we have is one of our high school partners was able to set up visits with tribal college, 2 tribal college visits, and they were able to go both west of their campus and then east of their campus. This is actually really common among our 56 high school partners or so. They often will use our grants to take tribal college tours. So if you haven't considered that as an option, feel free to, if you are one of our Higher Pathways grant attendees, feel free to use the money for those types of college explorations. Here's another example of tours where the high school also included FAFSA while they were visiting one of the tribal colleges. And the tribal colleges were able to assist with applications there. So those are just, it's a really brief snapshot. I could probably go on for hours about the groundwork partnerships that we're seeing from the College Fund perspective, but there are probably above and beyond what I'm seeing, tons of great partnerships also happening at some of your organizations. So I just wanted this to be a conversation starter, and hopefully as we move into next year, we really get to engage in this in a bigger way, especially because my department does put on a lot of professional development for tribal colleges, high schools. If you're interested in any of that, please feel free to email us at nativepathways@collegefund.org. I will drop that in the chat. And if you want to be put on a list serve to be able to engage with us and explore partnerships, feel free to send us an email there. But I wanted to open this up for people in the chat here. I know we're coming close to our time, but we've got a few minutes. If you would like to either engage in the chat, or if you even want to hop on the camera, feel free to do so. What is your name? What organization do you work for? Where is it located? And then if you would like to tell us a little bit about the partnerships your organization has with some of these targeted audiences, being high schools, tribal colleges, or other educational organizations, and just let us know, how have these partnerships benefited your organization? Or if you don't have these partnerships yet, what did you hear today that you would like to further explore, you have questions about, that you would like to see implemented at your organization? Or if you just have questions or advice across the aisle in general. I just wanted to create a little bit of open space here for people to engage with us. All right. I will turn my microphone off and just let people jump on the chat or the camera. Go ahead, Dorothy. You feel free to share on by jumping on the chat. I think on the bottom there's a place where you can allow your microphone and or camera, or you can also put it in the chat. All right, I'm answering in the chat here a little bit. I don't know if Dorothy was able to get um, on the microphone there, but thank you for those of you who are dropping your shared pieces in the chat. Laverne, I was just answering your question. There are several partnerships that we're seeing in Alaska. Often it's between the North Slope Bureau schools and Ilisagvik College, Alaska's TCU. We actually have a partner school that has had really great success in working with us and attending a lot of our events and also engaging with Ilisagvik. Kirsten, thank you so much for sharing about the partnership between the University of Arizona's Native American Initiatives Office and visiting students visiting a campus there. It's really great. All right, I'm going to give everybody just another minute or two. People might still be putting in their partnerships in the chat. I will also drop the Native Pathways email in there in case you are interested in being on our listserv so that you can see what our events are and be able to engage with us in professional development for organizations to partner to increase high school, college enrollment. But also we do work with high school equivalency programs and also have supports for students who are non-traditional students, like students coming in at a later time in life. Thank you, Dorothy. I see you work for a community college in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We have a Native American Community Academy High School on our site. Recently, we held a college day event and invited over 70 Native American students to our 2-year college. We also have a Native American Advisory Council, a group of tribal liaisons that offer resources and services to our Native American students. Thank you. That's really wonderful to hear. And dual credit and transfer students from TCU colleges like SIPI and IAIA. I would love to connect with you and learn more about those partnerships. So feel free to, if you are comfortable with it, send me your information. We'd like to connect you with some of those dual enrollment conversations that we're starting to see happen, just really taking place this spring across the tribal colleges. It's really wonderful. Kirsten, feel free to send me your information as well. We can connect you with resources on our Higher Pathways program. Thank you. All right. Well, I'm really excited to see some of the partnerships that are going on among your organizations, and also just allow us to think about different ways that we can explore inter-organizational partnerships for our Native youth. This has been really a work in progress, that it's really exciting to see these partnerships going on throughout the Higher Pathways program and beyond, and finding new ways to connect our organization with other organizations, because it really does take a village. I'm glad you appreciate it, Kirsten. All right. Well, I will hang on in case anybody has any questions for me. This concludes our session for today, though. I think we have lunch at this point, and then after lunch, we go back into our second session. So I'm looking at the schedule here. Lunch is from 12 to 12:45 Mountain Time, and then we'll have another set of workshops from 12:50 to 1:30. There are student-focused workshops. We have a FAFSA workshop coming up, a cultural and mental health workshop by the Buffalo Chasers. Our staff, Jack and Veronica, are doing a professional planning and resume student workshop, and then Adriana is doing a preparing for the first year workshop. I will be holding a second workshop that's kind of like a bridge with this one. So this one kind of talks about the partnerships. That second workshop will really talk about the resources to help connect organizations. So if you want to learn more in a deeper way, feel free to come back after the lunch. I look forward to seeing some returning names and faces to talk about this in a deeper way after lunch. Guayana, thank you for coming to start this conversation with us. I hope to hear from you, and I hope you have a great afternoon.